All right, welcome everybody. Good to see you all. We're going to start up in just a couple of, well, in probably about 30 seconds. Just give people a few more minutes to log in. Okay. Looks like we are all settled. Welcome to our quarterly prevention and early intervention collaborative. I'm Diana Gutierrez. I'm the prevention and early intervention manager here at RUHS Behavioral Health, and we are glad to have you today. We're going to find out who's in the room with us as people are still entering and getting started. We do have a short poll that we can take. Hold on, let me find my poll. Okay, here we go. Quick poll. We just want to find out who's in the room with us today. So what region you represent, who you serve, and then what describes your work setting, where you're joining us from. And then for the last one, I thought it would be fun to hear a little bit about how we all kind of keep ourselves going as we're hitting the end of summer, start of a school year, getting ready to get into Suicide Prevention Month in September. Share a personal mantra or an affirmation that helps you stay positive during challenging times. So is there anything that you tell yourself when you're having a tough day, when you've got a big project or something you're working on? What sort of self-talk helps you get through it? Maybe for anyone that might struggle with having some positive self-talk, we can get ideas from each other. So about 34% of you have answered so far. I'd love to get 100%. And maybe we can reach for 80 at least. So take a moment to go through these 4 quick questions so we can get to know who we're talking to today. We've got a really great agenda lined up for you. We'll go through that once we get a chance to see who's in the room with us today. So right about half of you. I'd love it if in the next minute or so, the rest of you can respond to our 4 questions. And we can get through a great, a really strong list about those mantras or affirmations that help. We're getting close, 70%. Way to go. I'm just going to give about another minute or so. So hurry, hurry, get your answers in. All right. Yes, 83%. Way to go, everybody. I am going to end the poll now so we can share and see who is in the room with us today. So when we asked about region and behavioral health, we break the county up into 3 different sections. I know other departments do it a little bit differently, but almost half of you serve the entire county, which is awesome because prevention and early intervention services do cover the entire county. And you're going to hear about one of our programs today that is across the county as well. And then we got some fair representation across the other in each of the regions. So that's terrific. And then who do you serve? We're across the whole lifespan, which is nice to see. And PEI programs also go across the lifespan. So we're glad to have you all here to learn. Today, we're going to highlight a program for youth. However, we do have Suicide Prevention Month this month, and that does cover everyone across the lifespan. And where are people coming from? We've got some department staff, some other county departments, schools K through 12, lots of CBOs. Glad you guys are here. Ooh, somebody from law enforcement or military. Thank you for being here and thank you for your service. And so you can see some places where maybe there's some blank spots. We are always looking to have people from the different areas that are represented here so that we can really learn from each other and then make sure programs get out to everyone as well. Okay, so number 4, sharing your personal mantra. Let me see, do I hit this view details? I actually haven't seen that before. Yes, here, I think, is this where we go? To see the answers, yes. So I will share mine first. I have one that I say to myself frequently, and I have it right here on my desk right in front of me, and it's, you can do hard things. So whether I am in the middle of a really tough project at work, or on a long run training for my next marathon, I just remind myself, you can do hard things. So here you can see a list of examples here from folks. You got this, God's in control. My contribution now is enough for the long term. Yeah, do what you can, right? Progress, not perfection. Absolutely. To be understood, I have to understand the other. This too shall pass. Yeah. Difficult times are temporary. So it's hard to remember that sometimes when you're in the middle of it. I got this. Tacos can fall apart and still be amazing, like you. Oh, I love that one. Very nice, Amanda. Because who doesn't love tacos? Just keep swimming. Focus on the positives in life. Just for today, I will. I choose happiness. One step at a time. You got this. Breathe and try again. Oh, we've got more. You guys got a great, oh, here we go. Where's the rest of that list? This too, so yeah. Wait, where's the last one? I'm enough. Worry is not preparation. Prayer. Remember some hard times in the past to appreciate them. Yeah, like you've gotten through 100% of the bad days, right? Mental health matters. No health is perfect without. I'm not sure where that one maybe got cut off. This too shall pass. I go and hang out with kids on school sites, and the energy on campus is contagious. Yeah, so maybe not a mantra, but more of a behavior. What is it that I can do that will get me in a better space, get me in a better headspace? Absolutely. I'm going to stop sharing that for a second. Okay, very cool. I didn't look in the chat. I don't know if anybody added anything into the chat. Okay, cool. If anybody, we were adding in, hi everybody, I can see everyone's face now. That's helpful. When I screen share, it's hard for me to see, but I'm going to put that screen share back up. I don't know if anybody didn't get a chance to share one before I shut down the poll. Anybody have any ones they want to share real quick before we move on? It's okay if you don't. We've got a whole list there that people shared. Thank you, everybody, for putting those in. If any of those stand out to you, use them to make them your own. It's always good to have another set of things to think about. So I want to share with you what we're going to cover today. We will do our trauma-informed systems moment as soon as I get through this agenda. Maisha is going to talk about Suicide Prevention Month, which starts next week. And we've got a lot of fun things happening, so we'll have that to share. And then Mindy's going to talk about the Back to School Mental Health Toolkit that we have. If you may have accessed this before, but we want to remind you about it. And then Andrea and our providers that provide the Cognitive Behavioral Intervention for Trauma in Schools program are here to talk to you about this program into some great detail. And then at the end, we should have time for any PEI providers that are here with us that have updates that they want to share or upcoming events. And then we'll also open it up to community roundtable. Anybody else in the room that's not a PEI provider that might want to share any announcements, upcoming events, or programming that they want people to know about. So that's what we have lined up for the day. And so here we are going to talk about our trauma-informed systems principles for August, which is cultural humility and equity. And I have a video that I want to share with you. If I can find it. Hold on. It's a little longer than the videos we normally show. So hopefully you brought your lunch and you can have a little lunch and learn. This is a brief video from Doctors Melanie Turvalon and Jan Marie Garcia. They're going to talk about how they really began looking at cultural humility. So let's take, oh, hold on a second. I don't think I hit the button for sound, did I? Hold on. Share sound. Here we go, guys.
Cultural humility is a multi-dimensional concept, and certainly Melanie Turvalon and I conceptualized 3 dimensions.
The first is lifelong learning and critical self-reflection. And in that critical self-reflection, it is the understanding of how each of us, every single one of us, is a complicated, multidimensional human being. Each of us comes with our own histories and stories, our heritage, our point of view. You're looking at me now. I am very fair-skinned. When I was a little girl, my hair was blonde. My eyes are blue. People often tried to call me anything but African American. I have a history. My identity is rooted in that history. My parents gave me the knowledge of my own social identity, and my own experience in life has created that. I get to say who I am.
The second tenet, after self-reflection and ongoing lifelong learning and development, is this notion that we must mitigate the power imbalances, to recognize and mitigate the power imbalances that are inherent often in our clinician patient or clinician client or service provider community dynamics.
And then finally, the piece that I would offer that Jan and I feel people often either don't read or don't like, which is, and the institution has to model these principles as well.
An African-American nurse is caring for a middle-aged Latina woman several hours after the patient had undergone surgery. A Latino physician on a consult service approached the bedside and, noting the moaning patient, commented to the nurse that the patient appeared to be in a great deal of post-operative pain. The nurse summarily dismissed his perception, informing him that she took a course in nursing school in cross-cultural medicine and knew that Hispanic patients overexpress the pain that they're feeling. The Latino physician had a difficult time influencing the perspective of this nurse, who focused on her self-proclaimed cultural expertise.
It was curious to this Latino physician who, first of all, was Latino, not like all, in his case, not like all Mexican Americans know everything there is to know about Mexican American patients. That wasn't it, but he might have been a resource for that African American nurse in that moment that she didn't feel like she needed, again, because she had bought into this notion of competence, of cultural competence.
The distinction between cultural humility and cultural competence was that we were in a process and a relationship that had many other layers to it, and that we were less comfortable with with even the term of competence. in a way that I think people understand well, and that it implies, especially for people who are providers and are trained in academia, that you are then all-knowing and all-powerful. And we felt like that was not what was happening for us as we were learning from community and understanding in a very practical way how families were coming to the hospital and feeling as if they really were not being heard from their own heritage and history, and how that impacted what they came to the hospital with that we didn't know anything about, hadn't even a clue about. For us, this is part of the humility piece of it, getting to understand that, not trying to humiliate you, not trying to make you feel bad, trying to help us all understand that life is like this, and to, in a certain sense, be really happy about not knowing.
In April of 1992, in the wake of the Los Angeles riots, following the initial not guilty verdict of the police officers accused of beating Mr. King, the Children's Hospital Oakland community was compelled to meet in a series of highly charged sessions to expose and critique our own patterns of institutional racism, injustice, and inequity. My name is Dr. Melanie Turvalon, and I am Director of Multicultural Affairs here at Children's Hospital Oakland.
I want to thank everybody for coming to what is a celebration for me of this year.
Jan and I had the good fortune, really, to be together in the same place when this work was evolving. Jan and I, while we're several years difference in age, are both African American women, and both raised by women who were teachers. And we come out of that, and fathers who were working men, who come out of that Southern tradition and who participated fully in the civil rights movement in the way that meant that they made sacrifices and their children made sacrifices, and they taught us about those sacrifices and raised us each in ways to understand that we were here to serve.
Lysol laundry sanitizer kills 99.9% of bacteria. Clean is good, sanitized is better.
All right. So there was a little bit from Dr. Turbalon and Dr. Murray Garcia. I'm wondering about thoughts. What did you learn? What's something new that came out of that video for you?
This is Dakota. I'll
Hey,
share. There was one line in there. It was something about we should be happy about not knowing. And I thought that was interesting. It's like going even further than getting comfortable with not knowing. It's like be joyful about not knowing that we all get to be on this journey.
Yeah, I mean, joyful about learning from each other too, and not having to have all the answers or the prescription, right? What did others of you hear there? What experience in that video? They're really taking a look at the difference between cultural competence versus humility. Maisha, I saw you were unmuted.
Yeah, I was going to read a few of the comments from the chat. So
Oh, thank
Larry
you.
Butler shared individuals need to be more understanding of others. And then Amanda Graves shared that she liked the points about lifelong learning, critical self-reflecting, recognizing and challenging power imbalances.
Absolutely, yeah. That's the crux of it, right? It's just right along the lines of what Dakota brought up too. Just being able to recognize that every person we encounter, even if we think we're from that same cultural background, we still have something new to learn from their unique experience, from their unique cultural experience. Anyone else have thoughts about that? You know, we do these trauma-informed systems moments as a way of thinking about not just those that we serve. This video talked a lot about that sort of provider to individual relationship, and that is important. And it also is a time to reflect about how we work with each other as well. Trauma-informed systems are about how do we help each other in the teams and the systems that we work in so that we're able to better provide for those that we serve. And so as you think through the different topics that we talk about through trauma-informed systems, and this in particular, cultural humility, how does that, how will that show up for you with those that you work with in your teams? And then how does that impact the work that you end up doing? Any final thoughts or comments before we move on?
There was one more point in the chat here from Denise Granger. She shared that I appreciated the point of not assuming you know what culture or group someone associates with. And then Dakota added on and said, even if you are of that group.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thank you all so much. I hope that's something that you can continue to think about. I'm going to move us into our agenda, further into our agenda, and introduce Maisha Bobo, who is one of our staff development officers on the PEI team, who wants to talk with you about September, Suicide Prevention Awareness Month.
Thank you, Diana. Let me share my screen. All righty. Are folks able to see my screen okay? You can give me a thumbs up or head nod. Perfect. Thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Maisha Bobo. I'm a staff development officer on the Prevention and Early Intervention team. I also have the pleasure of serving as the coordinator for our Riverside County Suicide Prevention Coalition. As Diana mentioned, today I will be sharing about this year's Suicide Prevention Awareness Month efforts. So our theme for this Suicide Prevention Month is Love Over Loneliness. And each September, we recognize Suicide Prevention Week. This year, it is September 8th through the 14th. And then World Suicide Prevention Day is on September 10th. This is an important time to remind everyone that we all have a role in preventing loneliness in our communities for people of every age. Even people who have not had mental health issues may experience suicidal thoughts and actions due to loneliness. And so today I want to share some practical activities and events for you, as well as people who may be lonely, to help foster social connections at each stage of life. So I'm going to share some activities that are available through suicideispreventable.org, as well as neverabother.org. And then here in PEI, we develop a calendar of events for September as well, which I'll share with you in some subsequent slides. And just a reminder to everyone that together we can help prevent suicide with the power of love and connection. So before we jump into the plans that we have for Suicide Prevention Month, I wanted to share that just yesterday, RUHS had the privilege of accepting a proclamation from the Riverside County Board of Supervisors acknowledging September as Suicide Prevention Month. So I'd like to share a clip from yesterday's presentation with you, as it highlights several of the coalition's current efforts and also sets the stage for the information that is to follow. So please enjoy.
Director, and whoever else you have in tow, Kim, you can go to the podium and introduce the topic, and we'll play the video, and we'll come around there.
Great. Thank you so much, Chairman Washington. And the people in tow are actually much more important than I am because they're the ones who do the work. So good morning, Kim Sarawatari, Director of Public Health. Thank you for having us here today. And we want to thank you for recognizing September as Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. This year, the statewide theme is Love Over Loneliness. And we know that loneliness and isolation have really negative impacts on people's health and well-being as individuals and also as communities. When we look at our most recent data from 2022, we see that there were 269 deaths and over 2,800 suicide attempts or self-harm incidents in that 1 year alone. Now that is slightly less than what we have seen before, but there's still a tremendous amount of work to be done to protect our communities and to help individuals who need it so that we can really get these numbers down. And our Suicide Prevention Coalition, who these fine women are actually leading up, So we have Diana, Maisha, and Rebecca, and it's a collaboration between behavioral health, Dr. Matt Chang's department, and public health. And so we do have a short video. If we could take a quick look at that, that'd be great.
Yes, and thank you, Kim, representing Public Health as the director, and Dr. Chang.
We're here to talk about an important topic that affects many lives: suicide. It's often a difficult subject to discuss, but it's essential that we come together to address it and offer support to those in need. Suicide is a serious public health issue, but there is hope. The Suicide Prevention Coalition in our community has been working tirelessly to provide resources and support. They've been recognized for their dedication and effective strategies, winning first place in the Mental Health Services Oversight and Accountability Commission's Striving for Zero Excellence Awards.
One of the coalition's important initiatives is the Free Gun Lock Project, a partnership that distributes free gun locks and offers safety counseling to those at risk for suicide. This effort plays a crucial role in addressing access to lethal means and promoting safety.
Every September, the Coalition provides a Suicide Prevention Month toolkit, calendar, and activity guide. Throughout the year, the Coalition hosts quarterly meetings and educational webinars open to the public. These free resources are invaluable in raising awareness and promoting help-seeking behaviors in our community.
In October, the Coalition holds a free in-person full-day conference. This year on October 3rd at the Riverside Convention Center, the conference will focus on the best practices in youth suicide crisis response.
The Coalition hosts impactful events such as the Send Silence Packing exhibits, aimed at breaking the silence around mental illness and suicide on college and university campuses throughout Riverside County. The Coalition supports the Directing Change program and film contest, which asks youth 12 to 25 years old to make public service announcement films focused on mental illness and suicide prevention. These events encourage individuals, especially our youth, to seek help and support for themselves and their loved ones.
The Dare to Be Aware Conference is a mental health conference for middle and high school youth aimed at reducing stigma and promoting help-seeking behaviors.
We encourage everyone to get involved, to learn about these resources and initiatives, and to spread the message of hope and support. Together, we can shine a light on this important issue and create a community where everyone feels supported and valued. Thank you for joining us.
And Supervisor, if I could just reiterate what Diana said at the end of that video, that our goal is really for everyone to feel supported and not alone. And to that end, we'd like to invite you and everybody else in the audience to join the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention's Out of Darkness Walks on September 28th at Fairmount Park in Riverside, and also on October 19th at Palm Desert Civic Center. And then you heard about our conference on October 3rd. I've had the opportunity to participate. It's an amazing conference, lots of resources. So just want to really recognize the great work that they are doing at the Suicide Prevention Coalition. And that's a direct result of the support that we're getting from you and the rest of the board. So thank you.
Thank you, excellent. Colleagues, I'd like to ask that you join me out front. We're going to present a proclamation to the two co-chairs of the coalition, Rebecca and Diana. So we'll come around and meet you over here. If you'll indulge me and let me choreograph this, could we get Rebecca and Diana to come up here, and then everyone else sort of alongside them to support them. And this is the proclamation. It's beautiful. And it recognizes all the good work that you're doing. You know, just making people aware of the resources that are available to help them in that personal time of crisis, or a family member that recognizes that, or a friend. We know that can go a long way. In my life, I've been touched by suicide, both at home as a child, and then later in life as an airline pilot at Delta, pilot I'd been flying with for most of the month, committed suicide while on a layover on a trip. Yeah, so you never know, and it's hard to spot, but appreciate this effort, and we wanted to recognize you here today for bringing it to the attention of the entire community. And we'll get some pictures, but here, I'll let you hold that. And would you like to talk?
We really hope that all of you will take an opportunity to go to rivcospc.org and find our toolkit and our calendar of events. There's opportunities to do things at home with your family, in community with your neighbors, and come out to some events that we have structured as well to help you learn the signs and know how you can help someone that you care about from dying by suicide. So we encourage you to check it out, rivcospc.org.
Okay, thank you. We'll head over this way and get a picture then. And we'll make tall people stand in the back.
Like us.
Okay, I think the rest of it is just us taking pictures, but just wanted to share that with you all. We were very excited to accept the proclamation yesterday, recognizing September as Suicide Prevention Month.
Director.
Oh, there we go. Alrighty, so now let's get into the toolkit. So I want to spend some time talking about the downloadable suicide prevention toolkit that is provided by suicideispreventable.org. So we want to note that PEI did not receive physical toolkits this year. However, there are many downloadable resources and activities provided in the online toolkit. All toolkit items are available in both English and Spanish. The first resource provided is a theme one-pager that discusses isolation and loneliness as a significant risk factor to one's health and well-being, and how we can reduce suicide risk in ourselves and others through the power of love and connection. So this is a really helpful resource to educate others on the importance of building strong connections, supporting each other, and helping others feel valued and cared for. The next resource I'd like to share with you is the substance use one-pager. So during Suicide Prevention Month this September, we want to take special care of our friends, family, loved ones, and other people in our lives who may be struggling with alcohol or other substances. For many people, using substances can be a way of temporarily addressing stress and pain. Substance misuse combined with social isolation can put an individual at greater risk for suicide. However, we believe that there is hope, and people can recover from substance misuse. We encourage you to download this handout to learn how we can all help during Suicide Prevention Month and beyond. This year's toolkit also contains a Love Over Loneliness booklet that includes practical strategies for identifying people in your life who may be lonely and ways to foster connection with them at each stage of life. The booklet shares specific strategies for individuals, parents or caregivers, child care providers, healthcare providers, schools and teachers, as well as communities. The information is conveniently broken up by age groups. So the first being early childhood or birth to 5, then children 6 to 12, teens 13 to 17, adults 18 to 64, and seniors 65 plus. I encourage you to explore this resource to learn common causes of thoughts of suicide, warning signs, and helpful strategies to reduce suicide risk for each age group. Together, we can build a community that uses love and communication to overcome loneliness and foster feelings of inclusion and belonging for us all. There's a few more resources that I'd like to share with you that are available in the downloadable toolkit. It includes a variety of social media graphics and captions for weekly posts, 2 Zoom background designs that you see here, as well as 3 website banners for your use during Suicide Prevention Month. We encourage you to help us spread the word about the power of love and connection by utilizing these items throughout September. Take Action for Mental Health has developed a social media post guide that you can copy and paste from that includes suggested posting dates as well as captions. To access the Take Action for Mental Health digital toolkit, please scan the QR code on the screen or visit suicideispreventable.org. So in addition to participating in these Suicide Prevention Week activities, Riverside County has released a full calendar of local events and an activity guide to recognize these important events. You can download them at the link listed here or scan the QR code. So I want to spend a few minutes highlighting some of the trainings and other special events that are listed on this year's Suicide Prevention Month calendar. So on Wednesday, September 4th, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., we invite you to join us for a Mental Health 101 training. This training focuses on understanding mental health versus mental illness, the mental health spectrum, stigma reduction, risk and protective factors, as well as available resources. Shortly after our Mental Health 101 training, we will offer a Stand Against Stigma presentation from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. on September 4th. Be inspired by hearing others share their experience, strength, and hope with mental illness. On September 9th, from 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m., and then again on September 23rd, from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., we will offer free Know the Signs trainings. We invite you to register for these webinars to learn how to recognize the warning signs for suicide, find the words to ask directly about these signs, and connect the person in distress to local resources. I do want to note that it will be the same training that is offered on September 9th and September 23rd, so you only need to sign up for one of them. We will also offer 2 Safe Talk trainings in September. So on September 10th and then on September 25th from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., we invite you to join us for this 3.5-hour training that prepares participants to identify persons with thoughts of suicide and connect them to suicide first aid resources. Those who attend this training are better able to identify people who have thoughts of suicide and move beyond common tendencies to dismiss, or avoid suicide. Participants must be age 15 or older to attend a Safe Talk training. So on September 11th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., we will offer a virtual self-care and wellness training focused on understanding how stress affects the body, psychologically, spiritually, interpersonally, and even physical impacts. We'll also share some strategies to help you manage stress and build resiliency, as well as how to connect to available resources here in our county. We will also be offering Applied Suicide Intervention Skills Training, or ASSIST, which is designed as an interactive workshop that teaches participants how to recognize when someone may be at risk for suicide and work with them to create a plan that will support their immediate safety. Participants must be age 16 or older to attend an ASSIST workshop. So this 2-day training is available in English on September 11th and 12th from 8:30 to 4:30 p.m. here at the Ruston Conference Center. On September 19th from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., we will be hosting a virtual Building Resiliency and Understanding Trauma training. This training will cover understanding and defining trauma and different trauma types, the impact of trauma on the brain, child traumatic stress, adverse childhood experiences and resiliency, as well as how to become trauma informed. And lastly, we will have adult mental health first aid offered on September 19th from 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. This full-day training is designed to help people learn how to recognize the signs of mental health or substance use challenges in adults age 18 and older, as well as how to offer and provide initial help and how to guide a person towards appropriate care if necessary. Topics covered in this training include anxiety, depression, psychosis, substance use or addiction, trauma, and self-care. So we hope you will join us for one, if not a few of those trainings that we'll be offering in September. I now want to move us on to talking about our Out of Darkness walks here in Riverside County. So for the second year, the Suicide Prevention Coalition is partnering with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, or AFSP, to support our local Out of the Darkness community walks. The first walk is located in the western region of the county at Fairmount Park in Riverside on September 28th. Check-in begins at 9 a.m., and we encourage you to scan the QR code on the left to register to walk, donate, or learn more about the Out of Darkness walks. Our second walk will be in the desert region at the Palm Desert Civic Center in Palm Desert on October 19th. Check-in begins at 9 a.m. Once again, you're going to scan the QR code, but this one is the one on the right. If you would like to go to our Palm Desert walk, please register or visit the website to donate and learn more. We also have included our team name at the bottom. If you have any difficulty finding us, our team name is RIVCO, Suicide Prevention Coalition. We hope that you all will come out and join us. So I'm excited to announce a new campaign that was launched in March of 2024 by the California Department of Public Health called the Never a Bother Suicide Prevention Campaign. This is a multilingual marketing, education, and outreach campaign that includes a website, social channels, advertising, influencer marketing, and close collaboration with 34 youth-serving community-based organizations and tribal partners. The Never a Bother campaign is a youth suicide prevention awareness and outreach campaign for young people up to age 25, as well as their parents, caregivers, and allies. As part of the broader state's Children and Youth Behavioral Health Initiative, the campaign aims to connect more youth experiencing thoughts of suicide to help by reinforcing the belief that they deserve support and are never a bother when reaching out to friends, trusted adults, counselors, and other types of support, such as the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. At the same time, their friends and allies are called on to make sure young people in their life know that they are there for them and can reach out for help at any time. The Never a Bother Youth Suicide Prevention Campaign aims to increase knowledge and awareness of suicide warning signs, crisis lines, and other sources of support among youth, young adults, and their caregivers. It aims to influence beliefs that young people matter, they deserve help, and are not alone in supporting themselves or a friend before, during, and after a crisis. The campaign also aims to support young people reaching out for help for themselves or for a friend. And lastly, the campaign aims to strengthen parents and caregivers' abilities to recognize warning signs of suicide and intervene with a young person in their care. So this year, our partners at RUHS Public Health have received Never a Bother toolkits that include a variety of items, such as the large poster that you see in the middle of our screen here, as well as stickers that are available in both English and Spanish. And you can see what those stickers look like here on the right. Additionally, the toolkit includes palm cards on various topics, such as suicide warning signs, how to help a friend, and getting help. To request a physical Never a Bother Suicide Prevention Campaign toolkit for the youth that you serve, please contact Michael Ruiz from Public Health, and we've put his contact information here. If you'd like to learn more information about Never a Bother, please scan the QR code at the bottom of the screen or visit the website that is listed there. So in addition to the physical toolkit items, I'd like to mention the recent release of the digital Never a Bother Suicide Prevention Month toolkit. And it includes the following items: an activity tip sheet, affirmation cards, pocket cards for caregivers, as well as posters for caregivers, email blasts for community partners to share out, as well as social media posts. There is a facilitation guide and PowerPoint deck for a suicide prevention workshop for parents. They also have Zoom backgrounds and many more amazing resources that can be downloaded for free from the neverabother.org website. And you can see some of the images here. So what you're going through is real. I'm here to listen. I know it may not always seem like it, but you can talk to me about anything, anytime, anywhere. So all of this is available on the neverabother.org website. So we also want to encourage you to save the date for our third annual Suicide Prevention Conference on October 3rd at the Riverside Convention Center. This year's theme is Collaboration for Suicide Prevention, Best Practices in Youth Suicide Crisis Response. Please mark your calendars for a full day of learning, networking, and collaboration to help make Riverside County a suicide-safer community. More details are coming very, very soon. We hope to have the flyer out to you all in the coming days. So thank you all once again for your time and attention. You can find our full calendar and activity guide for Suicide Prevention Month up at uptoriverside.org, or you can scan the QR code. I'll go back to the first slide so you'll have that, because we do have all of this information available on our coalition's Google Drive. If you have any questions or would like more information, you can email us at pei@ruhealth.org. So I will open it up if there are any questions at this time. There's that QR code once again, if you would like to access the toolkit. What questions might you have?
And for all the community organizations that are here, do you have plans, whether it's to use these materials or do other types of activities or events for Suicide Prevention Month? We'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Hazel.
Just real quickly, Maisha, I know you guys touched on it just a little bit about the directing change. If you can talk a little bit more about that, and then I'll be emailing you possibly about coming to AFWAG to do this presentation for Suicide Awareness Month.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
more about the directing change, please.
Yes, of course. So Directing Change is a California effort for 60-second PSAs for students age, I believe, 12 to 25. And so they submit films to an annual contest. Films are due in March every year, but they also have monthly prompts now. So there's an Hope and Justice monthly contest that students can enter. And they actually have just released their prompt for September, and they are in partnership with Never a Bother. So together, they've come together to create the theme for September. And I believe they want youth to share their experiences with contacting crisis supports. I just received that flyer, so I can forward it to you, Hazel, and I will be happy to share it with anyone else as well. And it should be available on their website, directingchangeca.org, I believe. I'll drop it in the chat. And we also have our own Riverside County landing page that I can drop in the chat for us as well. So they've partnered with Never a Bother for the month of September, but then throughout the entire year, they have other monthly prompts and then that annual film contest every year that's due in March. Thank you for bringing that up, Hazel.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Maisha.
Yeah, thank you. And let me know about AFWAG. I'd be happy to come present.
We'll do, definitely.
Yeah. Any other questions?
So hopefully this gets your thoughts sparked and gives you some ideas about ways that if you have not planned yet for Suicide Prevention Month, that this may be a way that you can bring some of this to the folks that you serve, to your community that you live in, any which way you want to share it. We have materials for you. You have them digitally, And then Public Health does have those Never a Bother physical toolkits that you can request and begin to use in your settings. So we hope that you'll consider that. Let's see, I'm looking in the chat. Denise from RCOE, thank you, shared Never a Bother campaign materials with several school districts, and they were excited. So that's great. Kids throughout our county are going to get content, get some of this content. And so hopefully you guys will think about ways that you can do that in your settings as well. Shirley, yes, we will send out a copy of the PowerPoint with the meeting, and we're recording as well, so we'll send that out. And we don't have them in AAPI languages at this time. English and Spanish only right now. Anyone else have questions, comments, activities you want to share related to Suicide Prevention Month? Well, all right then.
Sorry, Diana. This is Julie Andrews with Celebrating Families.
Hi.
And we are having, it's a community event, but we're having a resiliency conference in San Jacinto at the SBOBA Conference Center. So it's not really open to the public, but we're doing that in partnership with Riverside, San Bernardino County Indian Health. So we'll be having talking circles, and we're having a gentleman from Pachanga come up and share some local medicines to help with healing for those that are struggling with suicidal ideation and that kind of stuff.
Wow, that sounds great.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks for sharing that.
We'll share the outcome when we come back.
Great. And if you want any of these materials, let us know.
Please, yes. I don't think I put my email in the chat, but you guys probably have it because I got yours.
We have it. We know where you work.
Thank you.
All right. Any other comments, questions, events? We put the links in the chat for you for both Directing Change and the Never a Bother toolkit. And we'll send out the PowerPoint so you'll have all that other contact information as well. Okay. So we are now going to move on in our agenda, and we are now going to talk about the Back to School Toolkit, and I'll have Mindy McFarland, another staff development officer on the PEI team, to talk a bit about that.
Great. Thank you so much, Diana. So the mental health toolkit was created by our team. I was looking back it feels like so long ago, back in the fall of 2020. And when our kids were returning back to in-person school in the midst of navigating the pandemic. So there was a lot of concern and discussion about how we can best support the mental health and wellness of our school-age children. And it is a concern and discussion that has continued to be important since. So this toolkit was designed to serve as a conversation starter, helping to create safe spaces and conversations around taking care of our mental health and encouraging others on how to reach out and ask for help when needed. The toolkit is designed for educators or really any adult who wants to help create these kinds of conversations with youth to be able to have brief 5 to 10 minute discussions about different topics. So there are lesson plans with printed out instructions, as well as PowerPoints and resource pages, activity pages that can be utilized in this toolkit. So if you go to the website, there is also a webinar available that goes into each of the different categories in the lesson plans in more depth. We have information available for elementary school, middle school, high school, and also college, as well as some tips and resources for educators. The lessons for elementary school focus on topics such as affirmations to help increase positive thinking and self-confidence. It goes over things such as coping skills to help teach how to manage difficult feelings and increase our emotional regulation by being able to just even simply identify feelings. And also a variety of activities centered around how to help reduce stress and anxiety in school-age children. Our middle school lesson plans focus on how to help a friend discussions about mental health to help share facts and help to kind of also dispel myths around mental health and mental illness, as well as going over strategies and discussions related to self-care and wellness, suicide prevention information, and those activities to help middle schoolers to also reduce stress, anxiety, and anger management. The high school and college lesson plans further those discussions on the topics from the middle school category, with the added emphasis on stress management and also with suicide prevention being more of a focus. And we also have added, I know Maisha just shared about directing change. So we also have some of those videos that our youth have created to help to kind of support those lesson topics. And, you know, it's very powerful when we have the videos that are made by youth shared with the youth and helping to teach them about some of those different areas related to mental health and suicide prevention. So the website here is highlighted. So if you go to the uptoriverside.org webpage and go to resources and you scroll down, you're going to see the toolkit tab, and that will have all the information there for you to kind of explore. We encourage you to share it with others, practice it with those that you care about, and just it's all there for you all to use and just to be a resource for support. So that's about it for the back to school toolkit. Were there any questions about that?
And Mindy referenced a lot the educator, and so yeah, we would hope teachers had accessed this and used it and continue can do so. But it's also broader than that. So for your community-based organizations, as you're meeting with young people, this is also content that can be helpful. It's not just designed for a school setting. It's really just for anybody that's meeting with a small group of young people can access this and begin the conversation. They're short. They're 5 to 10 minutes conversation starters just to open up space and talk about things that they maybe don't always talk about in other settings. Any questions, comments? Let's see okay. Thank you both, Mindy and Maisha, for those incredible updates and great tools that can be used for the month coming up. And now we are going to move into our program spotlight and hear about the Cognitive Behavioral Intervention for Trauma in Schools program, or we more often refer to it as CBITS. And Andrea Deaton is the Staff Development Officer on the PEI team that oversees this project, and I am going to turn the floor to her.
Thank you, Diana. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm very happy to be here to share a little snippet with you about a program that's very near and dear to my heart. I was actually a CBITS provider back before I worked here in prevention and early intervention. So I've seen firsthand the impact that this program has out in our community. And I'm really grateful to be able to share a little bit of it with you today and introduce you to a few of our providers at the end that are out there doing this great work in our schools throughout our county. So let's talk a little bit about CBITS as one of our prevention programs here in Riverside County in our PEI plan. A little bit of history about CBITS. It's been provided here in Riverside County since 2011. It was one of our early programs. In 2023, we had the ability to expand CBITS to now have 4 providers that continue to serve countywide. Operation Safe House has been providing CBITS since 2015. And they serve Alvord Unified, Riverside Unified, all of the school districts in Mid-County, Palm Springs Unified, and Desert Sands. Harupa Unified School District provided service for us in 2011 to 2013, and again from 2018 to current. And they serve schools in Harupa Unified School District. And then our 2 newest providers that we're really happy to have on board are Special Services for Groups, or SSG. They've been providing service for us since that expansion in early 2023, and they serve Moreno Valley Unified. And I think the one that I was like, finally, for Riverside County Latino Commission coming on board with us as well in early 2023 to finally get service in Coachella Valley Unified. So we have a good bulk of our county covered, including a large part of our desert community covered with this service now, which is really exciting for us. So what does the program look like? CBITS is, as Diana said, has a very long name, which is why we just refer to it the way that we do. And what we're looking to do in our program here is to reduce symptoms of PTSD in youth ages 10 to 15 that have a trauma exposure history. So we're really looking at lifetime exposure. Many of you are familiar with criteria regarding things happening within a certain time frame in some of our other PEI programs. But for CBITS, we're really looking to see at any point in their history, before or even currently, have they ever had a trauma exposure history? Those are the students that we're looking for. We also look to see how this intervention helps with symptoms of depression and overall functioning at home. The service is provided in a group setting, but also includes individual sessions with our students. And then we also spend some time with caregivers and teachers because our students don't exist in a vacuum. They exist in other places, and we want to try to buffer and provide support and education to those other environments just as much as we're providing specific tools and techniques to the young folks that are participating in our group. The group is 10 sessions long. And those sessions are really focused on skill building. So we teach relaxation skills. We teach how to work our negative thoughts to more helpful thoughts. We also look at problem solving. We talk about ways to conquer and address our fears in those 10 sessions. We're doing a lot with our students. The individual sessions are really focused on helping the participants in the group kind of digest their trauma experience. So it's not a typical therapy session that one may envision. It's a very structured, very specific part of our intervention to really help the participants start to, one, as I mentioned, digest what has happened to them, but also learn skills to be able to talk about what happened to them without becoming overwhelmed or flooded or activated by any particular emotion. So it's really allowing them opportunity to further be able to process by having conversations with caregivers, by other folks in their life that care about them, and not being overwhelmed. And then we also, as I mentioned, in part of the other purpose that these individual sessions serve that I haven't yet told you, is that there is a sharing component in the group session where there's an expectation that students that are participating will do some kind of imaginal expression. It's typically drawing of a part of their trauma narrative, and then share a piece of that they choose to with the rest of their group. And that really helps our students that are participating recognize that they're not alone. Trauma is often very isolating, and we think, oh, we're the only one that these things happen to. So it's an opportunity for our students to create cohesion with each other and recognize that they're not alone, and learn how to give appropriate support to others when they share what's happened to them. It's a really powerful component of the group. And then we also, as I mentioned, want to spend some time with the caregivers. If we can get them to show up with us in person or on Zoom, we have some structured lessons that we can go over with them that really educate them about the program itself. What skills are we teaching their student when we pull them out of class every week for 10 weeks? And also talk with them about common reactions to trauma and stress. We find oftentimes that we kind of connect some dots for caregivers about their own lives while we're teaching them about their child. It's a pretty powerful thing to have happen in here as well. And we also want to spend some time with our educators, our teachers, because trauma shows up in the classroom. And sometimes those behaviors that are real frustrating for our teachers are maybe a reaction or a sign or a symptom kind of that trauma exposure coming out. And if we can help our educators have a better understanding of the students sitting in their classroom, maybe they can respond to those students in a way that's not re-traumatizing and is more supportive and more trauma informed. So we kind of, again, are working with multi-facets here of our young folks that have a trauma exposure history. This program is provided by master's level licensed, eligible, or licensed clinicians. So we have some folks that have some experience with working with people with trauma, and that can do all of the things that come along with that. If we need to provide referrals to higher levels of care, if we need to do risk assessments, which often happen, CPS reports, we've got folks that are capable of managing those things. And services are provided directly on a school campus. And since we're working with 10 to 15-year-olds, we can work at elementary, middle, and high school, although middle school is really kind of, I always tell our providers, the bread and butter for CBITS. That's the group that that this tends to work the best in. And as I said, we are serving across our entire county, which is awesome. So how do students qualify or get into the program? Students have to go through a screening process to ensure that this program is really going to be the right fit for them. CBITS is wonderful, but it doesn't work for every student, or a group setting is also not the right setting for every student. So our facilitators are really skilled at trying to find the students that this is really going to be the most beneficial for. The screening consists of a couple of different tools. So they do a PTSD screening. As I mentioned, that's our primary focus of reducing symptoms of PTSD. And again, we are looking at that lifetime exposure and current symptoms. So how bothersome is the event to the student now, even if it happened 5 or 6 years ago? If it's still bothering them now, those are the students that we want to work with. So if they have a qualifying score, they move on to the next step, which is an interview. And the interview is really a clinical tool that our facilitators are using to verify the information from the paper and pencil screening. And again, also assessing that appropriateness to make sure that this modality is going to be the right fit for this particular student or this client to come into the CBITS program. So we really want to, our clinicians are really honing that skill with the interview process here. And then after we get through that interview and the student agrees to participate in the program, because one of those important things with trauma and healing from trauma is allowing voice and choice and trying to help our disempowered young folks feel more empowered. If they say they want to participate in the program and we get consent and all of those necessary things, then we collect some demographic information and we do a depression screening called the CDI-2, or the Childhood Depression Inventory. And we also ask the caregivers to complete a strengths and difficulties questionnaire, which is just a form that goes home that caregivers can send back. So they can kind of give us an idea of some of those behaviors that they see happening in their young person at home. And it just helps give us an overall more complete picture of the student's functioning. And because we love data, all of these things are done at pre and post. So at the end of the program, after all 10 sessions, after those individual sessions, after all the end, they again will complete a PTSD screener, because we do know that a lot of our students don't just have one event that's happened to them. Many of them actually have ongoing events that happen while they're actually in group. And we want to get that CDI-2 again, so we can see if we've got any changes in their symptoms of depression. And completion for this program means that a student has attended at least 8 of our sessions, had at least 1 individual session, and has turned in those pre and post measures. So what has CBITS looked like in previous years? So I just looked back at the last little bit here. In fiscal year 22-23, we had 258 students enroll in the CBITS program countywide. 211 of them completed the program. In my quick math, that was about 78% of our students completed the program, which is really good, especially considering the program is long. It happens at school, and sometimes they hate when you pull them out of PE and they have a test or other things kind of sometimes get in the way. During the second half of 2023, as I mentioned, or sorry, fiscal year 22-23, we expanded and added our 2 new providers, SSG and RCLC. And now all of our providers have the same number of students that they're looking to complete, regardless of how many districts they serve. So which is 48. So for example, Jurupa Unified School District, that just serves schools in its own district, has to serve 48 students, and Operation Safe House has to serve 48 students in Mid-County, the entire region. So we kind of tried to level out the playing field in regards to numbers, but some of our districts are bigger than others, and so they have opportunity to serve in Moreno Valley and Jurupa quite a few students. And then some preliminary numbers I did just off of my own data collection from last fiscal year, 23-24. And so my math may not be exact. We showed 294 participants enrolled countywide, and 267 of them completed the program, which again means at least 8 sessions, at least 1 individual, and complete pre and post measures, which was 90%. That is incredible. And again, it's preliminary. There's more information to come on this as our research specialist, Orly, who we adore, works on creating our report for last fiscal year. But just based off of my numbers I collected, I'm really proud of this program and how hard our providers are working with our trauma impacted youth in our schools. So now we know about how many students enrolled, but what does the data show? So in fiscal year 22-23, the most recent report we have, we did see that PTSD symptoms did decrease. On average, they didn't decrease below that clinical cutoff, that red line you see here on the slide. And there's probably a few explanatory reasons for that. As I mentioned, it's not uncommon for our young folks to have traumas or other stressful events happen to them while they're in the course of the group. And so that's usually one kind of hypothesis we have as to why we maybe don't see those PTSD symptom numbers come below that clinical cutoff. And we also, for the depression screening on the right-hand side here, our CDI-2, as I mentioned, we use that pre and post. Overall, there was a decrease noted in their overall symptoms of depression and on the 2 scales that make up the total. So we look at the total score as well as emotional problems and functional problems. So we did see decreases in all of the things that we would hope to see decreases in on average across the county. So that shows us effectiveness. When it's done to fidelity, the program works really well. And then we want to hear, what do our participants have to say? So our young folks at the end of our program will complete a satisfaction survey. And I always tell my facilitators, read them, because by and large, the thing they like the most about the group is the facilitators and the group environment and having other kids around them that have hard things happen to them. So I just pulled a couple of examples so we could kind of get a little flavor of what some of the things our young folks said about what they learned and what they liked. Also, by and large, students say that they learn how to cope and they learn how to overcome their fears and worries. They learn how to look at problems in a different way and how to solve them, which is a very specific skill that we teach in sessions 8 and 9. They learn that talking about events that happened is good for you. That's probably one of my favorite things that I read over and over again, is that they learn that they can trust folks and open up about this stuff. They learn how to calm their nerves and anxiety with breathing activities and how to better communicate with their peers after sharing. And those are what we do in session 6 and 7, and that they don't have to be afraid to talk about how I'm feeling. So we're giving students their voice back, which is a huge thing in trauma, in healing from trauma and resilience building, is helping them find their voice again. And what do they like about the group? They love their group leaders. They feel they're kind and they listen to them, and that they're allowed to say what their feelings are, that they're not alone in sharing their story, right? Because trauma can be very isolating, so they get to find other folks that they can connect to. That they feel that they like that they were taught how to not avoid their problems, which is a huge skill that we teach halfway through the group that we continue to have them work on all the way until session 10, and that they learn there's other students who deal with this. Again, they're not alone, and that they had a safe place. So we really are making significant change and impact on a school campus for our kids that have trauma exposure or really stressful things happening in their lives. And last but not least, I want to introduce you to some of the wonderful CBITS providers that we have here in Riverside County. We have a handful of them here with us today. Jana Garrett, who's the program manager at SSG, and I think Maria, one of our brand new CBITS facilitators, is here as well. Lizette Rios, the coordinator from Jurupa Unified School District. Amanda Galindo would be here, but she let me know that she's out sick today. And Alan from Latino Commission is on a plane to Mexico, so he sends his hellos on his way to vacation. But Jana, Maria, and Lizette are here, so I want to stop sharing for a second and give them the floor. And they're going to share a little bit about some of the successes, the highlights that they've experienced in their time providing CBITS, and also some of the challenges that come up in working in a school setting, because it's definitely not without challenge, and maybe how they've also worked around solving or overcoming some of those challenges. So I'm going to ask Jana to go ahead and kick us off and kind of share with us a little bit about your experience here.
Great. Hello, everyone. Thanks for the introduction. So first, as Andrea said, that we, SSG Riverside Counseling Center, we serve Moreno Valley Unified School District. So we're lucky enough to be in a good variety of schools, serving elementary schools, middle school, and high school, all within that age 10 to 15 group. And the challenge, I'll start with the challenges and then end with the successes that we've had, and bring in our newest therapist, Maria, to share her experience with some of the success we've had this current year too. So challenges with working in a school district that we experience is policies are always popping up. Like something that we had experienced that we're experiencing right now this week is we did full classroom screenings, 2nd period through 5th period, very successful Monday. Tuesday, went back to the school, and then the school said, oh, there's a new policy, there's a new vetting process, no one else is allowed on campus, you can't contact our students till that's done. So we're sitting with a stack of screenings that said that are qualified students, and we had prior school approval, and now we're on a pause. So it's back to communicating with the anybody and anybody really in the district. So the administration of the school, the reaching out to the like student services coordinator, the principal, the risk management department to see what do they need from us and what are other providers experiencing as well, so that we can make sure that we can like expedite this as fast as possible, get them what they need so we can get vetted and back. But it's interesting because that's only happened at one school in the district. So it's finding out like what school, how different schools interpret different policies from the district as well. So I think that's always our biggest challenge. However, we've had different challenges like this every year, and we've been able to work through them and provide the groups to the students. So it's just being flexible and just trying to communicate as soon as possible with our team and our district and other providers within the district, so that we can all hopefully support each other to get the services like on track. Something more specific to providing CBITs that we've learned from is when gathering our referrals. At first we started doing direct referrals from counselors because we were reaching out to the counselors first, as they know the students who tend to be like higher need or might be demonstrating some of the behaviors that could be like a good sign for experiencing stressors and traumas and needing support. So it was a lot of just individual referrals, but then we took guidance from other providers who are providing CBITs and found out that additionally doing full classroom screenings has been a great tool to cast a really wide net, get a lot of students screened at once, and finding more qualified candidates, because then we can connect with them individually during the assessment process when we meet with them one-on-one and review the screening results and make sure that this is a program that they want to participate in. So even though when we did it individually, it kind of did the screening individually and the assessment, they got that one-on-one. Still doing the like full classroom screening has been successful for getting more students screened and possibly into the program, so that because we still have that one-on-one connection with them when we do the assessment. So I think that's been a successful shift that we've done for getting more students. And one challenge too that we've experienced as part of the program requires the students to practice the skills and like submit like homework, kind of like showing that yes, I did try and implement these new skills during the week. And we know it's a big ask to add homework and more things to do to our like students' day. However, that's how we know that they're actually understanding the new tools and skills and practicing them and like starting to implement them in their lives. So one thing that we've done is to encourage them is incentivize them. And we've changed the incentives over time, but what we've learned the best is incentivizing them with gift cards. So when they are able to submit their work, they get a gift card, but really they also get the gift of like, learning and practicing the skill. So yeah, we'll look at it in that way too. But one thing over time, we've learned that not doing gift cards every single week, but, and because that's just like a kind of a fiscal nightmare of having to get the gift card logs and knowing how many to bring, and it's a huge guessing game. But what we did this last cycle is our providers, our therapists made a chart. So it had the student's name, and every time they brought back, they got an X and they got to see how many gift cards they were earning. So it kind of made it more almost like bragging rights in a way too. They can get excited about how many times they turned in their homework and how big their reward was going to be, because it's essentially rewarding them for their hard work. So that really did help with tracking the gift cards, and then they just earned the one at the end. So it wasn't so many little ones, it was just the one big one at the end for all their hard work. And also like motivating to them because they could see if other kids were doing it, they're more likely to submit it as well. So that was one challenge in the beginning of getting homework, but then that's been a really good shift. And then some other successes we've had with screening, focusing really just on this new school year too, is we have had a lot of attendance to school-wide events. We were able to communicate a lot last year at the end of the school year with the different counseling teams and administration teams and get ourselves on the calendars for all the beginning of the school year's event. And it's been really great. We were able to attend a school registration fair. So it was a good way to introduce the program and kind of expose the parents and students to what CBITS is, like planting that seed when they're there doing their like registration for their students. And it gave them an opportunity to ask questions. And then we were there again at back to school night. So they can, again, they're familiar with us and then they see us again at back to school night and able to explain more about the program, accept self-referrals for the program, like student interest and parent interest. If they wanted to say, yes, please like reach out to me when you're doing the screening. I'd like to be screened for this group. So that way students, there's a flyer for students and a flyer for parents that they could sign up in the moment, but they could also take it and there's a QR code. So they're able to scan it and then submit their information to us and then we can reach out to them. And it has different options of like, I'm curious about the program. I want to hear more about it, or please reach out to my parents. And there's different forms to kind of see like what their interest level is and what their questions are. And let's see, one thing, I don't want to take too much time because I could talk a lot. So I'm going to end it with introducing Maria. She's our newest trained therapist that's doing CBITS, but she got to do one of our other outreach events to the schools, which was engaging in a staff meeting. So it was the first meeting of the school year with all the teachers there. We're able to, because we're new at this school at Badger Springs Middle School, and we're able to really promote our program. But Alyssa and Maria were able to come up with this activity, which I'll have Maria share about, which was really engaging for the teachers. And so I only got to hear about it and it made me very excited. So I wanted to invite Maria to come because she got to actually implement it.
Hello everyone, my name is Maria. I am a new therapist here with SSG. Me and my coworker Alyssa got invited to attend a staff meeting, which was really great. They actually put us at the beginning of their calendar, so we're the first ones to go. So we got to present a slide on what is CBITS and how we're gonna implement CBITS, the group either at school for English and Spanish speakers. Also, we wanted to engage the crowd. So we were able to get all the staff, the teachers and admin to participate in an activity that Alyssa came up with. And it was, it was an activity to understand the different stressors that come up during CBITS. So the staff formed 2 different circles and each, we gave them different stressors which were symbolized as different stress balls. A tennis ball symbolized a loss in their family or removal from home. A squishy ball represented various challenges that the students might be facing, and the small balls indicated or reflected on moments that the student might be feeling overwhelmed or having a bad day. So we asked the teachers and the staff to create 2 circles and to pass the balls along in a pattern, but they had to pay attention on who were they passing it to because each ball was a different stressor. And once they dropped the ball, it was a stressor drop, reflecting on their life, that what was going on and how they could, connect with the students. So when we're doing this activity, it helped the staff visualize and and engage in a hands-on activity to help them grasp the attention of the students juggling with different stressors. They were able to learn empathy and development, and the staff got insight on how difficult the students' lives are that at home, and how difficult might be for them to concentrate when they're having, different personal issues at home, and that no one knows about, only the student, and they might not feel comfortable sharing. Like, we're connecting and like, yeah, now we understand our students, we should be more empathetic towards them. And they were really engaged in our talk, asking for referrals. They were all asking like, how do we put our kids in your CBETS group, because we have a few in mind. So it was a really educated activity. They liked it, they all participated, and the most important is that they understand the impact of it. By dropping the ball, it symbolized how the students may be struggling to balance their challenges, and highlighting the impact of trauma on their. It was really fun that they all got to participate and engage in our activity, and they were really like informed and want us to come back and do it. And they asked us, for different flyers, how to. We're currently working like on a Google Doc to get students recommended, and the counselors are great there. They're really working with us hand on hand, providing referrals and students, and the teachers really were open to every suggestion we were giving them.
Yeah. So hopefully, as you could hear, yeah, just really built their empathy and understanding of stressors, and motivated them to like the buy-in of CBETS, because the biggest thing with teachers is we're seeing them during class time. So them being understanding too, that yes, we're taking them from their class, but it's not forever, for 10 weeks, and just like, once a week, but that the greater impact that they could have, in their mental health and their future at school. So that was good. And it also prompted some meetings with that school, our future success, I'll say, of targeting ESL classes, because they want to now provide ours with specific ESL classes they have for students who recently immigrated into the country and are primarily Spanish speaking, and all have similar stressors of being new immigrants. And so we're going to hopefully open a group this cycle that will be led in Spanish with our new Spanish materials that have been recently all translated, so we can find that specific like niche too, not just our English speaking groups, but the Spanish speaking students as well. So that's something that came up in one of our staff meetings that we joined, asking if we'd be able to focus on that, and we said we'd love to. So that was great. So that's kind of our journey so far. So thank you for letting us share.
Thanks so much, Jana and Maria, for sharing, and Maria for bringing up Spanish groups. And Jana, I completely forgot, because I get so excited about this. I forgot about that huge development that we finally have the ability to fully perform the screening and content delivery of the group 100% in Spanish across the board. So that is a huge win for us, something very exciting, and that really came out of a special request from the school that Jana and Maria were talking about. So thank you both. And I want to turn some time over to Lizette. Not to embarrass you, Lizette, but I have a beautiful nickname for Lizette. I call her the Queen of Hot Seat. When I've observed her do CBIT sessions over the years, she's really, really good at helping our students change their thoughts from being negative and unhelpful into more helpful and more adaptive. And so I've kind of deemed this nickname for her through the years. And so now we'll hear from Lizette from Harupa Unified, one of our providers that's been around a little bit longer than SSG. So thank you so much for being here, Lizette.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Andrea, for always being super sweet and calling me the hot sweet queen. I'll just keep it really short and simple. We've been doing CBITS for a while. We are part of the district, so it does eliminate a lot of the barriers that like outside providers have when facilitating CBITS. I think for us, our biggest challenge is our component of consent, just because we also have a RUHS SOC contract. So our clinical supervisors are very diligent with gaining consent. So we do have a lot of we send like negative consents out first in order to be screening the students, and then we gain verbal consent to even interview the students, and then we get consent again for the participation of them being in members of the group. So I feel like that's the biggest challenge for us, because that's a call every single time to parents, right? And getting access to the parents is kind of ties into my next challenge, which is parents participating in in-person sessions. Parents are, it's difficult to get a hold of them sometimes with our caregivers, and making a lot of calls is very time consuming as well. So we try to kind of work around that by doing like in-person phone call sessions, virtual sessions, really just to meet the needs of the different parents that we have at our district. And then as far as successes, I think being able to attend staff meetings all the time is really beneficial to our CBITS team, because then we're able to present on these topics. I think that's huge. I think also this past year we focused a lot on outreach. So our CBITS team can again almost like be booked to go out to a specific site to promote CBITS. And I think that's something else that's been very beneficial. And I think that another success for us is just having those procedures and protocols in place already. We have a system, it works, and we're always looking to learn and grow. So I'm just eager for this year, for sure. We have 2 new members, Marissa and Miriam. They're not here today, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to our team developing this year. So thank you for giving the opportunity for us to speak.
Thank you so much, Lizette. And one other challenge I think that I can speak on for all 4 of our providers at some level or another tends to be staff turnover. When we're working with pre-licensed clinicians, which most of the facilitators are pre-licensed, they may need to move on to another placement site to develop skills in a different population. They've worked enough with kids, they've got those hours, and they want some experience with adults or couples or other things, or the school setting is just not right for them. So we lose clinicians throughout the year, and that has definitely been a challenge, I think, for some of our providers more than others, and at different times more so than other times. But that's something that we kind of have faced for years, and we'll continue to face as we move CBITS forward into the fiscal years to come. But I think that about covers us for the CBITS program here in our county. Thank you, Diana, for giving us a chance to share about my little baby CBITS here that I love so much. And Jana, Maria, and Lisette for being here to share your experiences. And if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Yes, thank you all for being here today and sharing. CBITS is also close to my heart. I was a trainer and oversaw that program many years ago when I was an SDO. Who has questions for this group? What do you want to know about CBITS? Well, it was a very thorough presentation, so I think you left everyone full of good information,
right,
with no questions left. So if you think that this is something that could benefit anyone that you know or are working with, it is done by school district. So you can take a look at who our providers are, what districts they serve, and you can always connect with them, and then they can try to engage the student at that district that they support. Okay, so thank you guys for all of that. That's all the information that we have for you guys today. And now I turn the floor to all of you. So for my PEI providers that are here in the room today, does anybody have any upcoming recruitment starting program or upcoming events or anything you want to share about your programs or your agency overall? You can unmute, you can drop something in the chat. Este.
Oh, yes. We have September 10th is a worldwide suicide prevention day, and we wanted to raise awareness about suicide and how to support those who may be struggling, or to honor survivors and remember those who have died by suicide. So if you light a candle near a window to show your support, and you take a picture, and if you send it in, and you have a chance to win a $100 gift card. So the flyer, I was trying to put it in to the chat and I was not able to. Then I'll just send it to Diana, maybe you could disseminate it for us?
Yeah, you can send it to me and Miriam, and we'll get it out to the group.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Great, wonderful event. Thank you for that. Any other PEI provider announcements? All right, I'll expand it then to anyone else in the room. Anything that you might want to share about your agency or any events coming up. If anybody has anything they want to share at all, now's the time.
This is Julie Andrews again. So it's coming up to powwow season. So this coming in September, Morongo's having their powwow, and then San Manuel's having their powwow. San Manuel's on the 21st. I think powwow's Morongo's the following weekend. So come on out and look at all the vendors and see the dancers.
Great.
It's welcome.
Okay. Other announcements, upcoming things. Any questions about anything at all or other comments anyone's interested in making?
Yes, good afternoon. I have a comment or
Sure. Hi,
announcement.
Larry. Hi.
All right. Yeah, I'm with XBX Youth and Family Services Fatherhood Department, and I just wanted to let you everyone know that we appreciate the invitation, and I can share our information so that if you have any fathers or any children of fathers in your network who you think would benefit from a father engagement program, please can share our flyer. We greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, that'd be great. If you can try to drop it in the chat. If it doesn't go in the chat, you can email it in to us.
Okay, sure will. Thank you.
Great. Anyone else?
Diana, will you send that fatherhood engagement flyer out?
Yes, Miriam will send it out when we have all the information from today's meeting ready to go out to the group.
Thank you.
Okay, so Maisha's noting in the chat that the Know the Signs Prevention Toolkit has items for diverse communities, including Chinese, Filipino, Hmong, Korean, Vietnamese, and Lao. So check that out. She put the link in the chat so you can see those other materials. And if there are no additional announcements or questions, then I'm going to give you back 18 minutes to your day. I look forward to seeing all the things that you might do to recognize Suicide Prevention Month. When you've had an event or have done some activities, feel free to take pictures and send those in to us. We'd love to be able to track and see how we are making an impact in the community and spreading word about suicide awareness. So thank you all so much for being here today. It was great to meet with you, and we'll see you at the next quarterly meeting. Have a great afternoon. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and call it. I'll see you guys. Bye.